Between coming out of a bit of a depression and having a super busy spring, my typical planning system just has not been working for me lately, so I've had to make a few adjustments with how I've been using my planner for the past couple of months. Hey there, it's Elisa, but of course you can call me Ellie, and I am exhausted. Not as exhausted as my cat Minnie right now, apparently. So just ignore her, she's taking a nap. But I have just been so tired lately and completely unmotivated to do basically anything. So today you find me on my very, very messy bedroom floor. I didn't even bother to get my microphone out of the shot. This is just how things are right now. Just bear with me. So of course, at the beginning of the year, when I thought I had my entire perfect planning system figured out, it completely got turned upside down and it just was not really working for me. Apparently, I have been a little bit depressed lately, probably since like the summer-ish. Did not know that until it just kind of hit me one day, and then I thought like, oh, I think I've been depressed. But that means that I just have not had the energy to keep up with my typically like hyper-organized, productivity-centered planner system. And then in May, I had a lot going on, which honestly helped me feel so much better. But there was so much going on that even though I had the motivation to keep up with my planner, I just didn't have the time or the energy. So what has that meant for my planner use, and what does that mean for my planner moving forward? So since it's that time of the month, not that time of the month, but the time where on a monthly basis I go into my planner, kind of reevaluate my needs, see what's working for me, I figured we could kind of go into what I've been doing for the past couple of months with my planner so that it still worked for me when I wasn't feeling super great or didn't have as much time, and what I did to prepare for the month of June, since my planner is looking a little bit different these days. So if you want to just cut ahead to my kind of June setup situation, I am going to try to remember to put a timestamp somewhere here maybe, so that you can cut ahead. But for the rest of us, I do want to take some time to kind of reflect on the past couple of months in this planner. So, mental health with my planner. I don't really know a great way to transition there. But yeah, recently it has kind of come to my attention that I was in a bit of a rut, I think, and really struggling with depression a little bit more than what's typical for me. And looking back, I do think it kind of explains a lot. So yeah, I probably should have picked up on that a little bit sooner. Once I realized what was going on, I really wanted to take some time to kind of evaluate how my planner fits into my life right now, and really giving myself the grace to kind of take the rest time that I needed and really change how I approached kind of my day-to-day to-do list, I guess. Not only was I having a difficult time finding the energy and motivation to keep up with tasks in my life, I also was starting to lose the energy and motivation to keep up with my planner, just getting it set up to be able to provide me what I thought that I needed at the time. So going into May, I did something crazy. I used my planner just as it was printed. It's wild, I know. Usually I make my own custom dashboards so that my planner can help me be even more productive than how it was originally designed. But I was just not in the mood to look at a dashboard and possibly redesign part of it and then have to print it and cut it out and put it on the pages. It really doesn't take that much time, but where I was at going into May, I was like, there's absolutely no way. So I kept it simple. I just used the dashboards that were already printed in the planner and just used those. And honestly, I barely even used them anyway. In the past, I would tend to go a little bit crazy with habit trackers each week, so I did cut down on those as well. I knew that where I was at, I would not be able to keep up with those habit trackers, and I didn't feel like making them anyway. So best case scenario, they would have just gotten in the way. And worst case scenario, they would have gotten in the way and made me feel even that much more guilty for not getting more stuff done every day. So instead of worrying about designing a whole bunch of different types of habit trackers, I just decided to use that little extra box in the corner on the weekly page, added a few vertical lines, and used that as my habit tracker each week. And to keep me from feeling too overwhelmed, I really did kind of change how I approached habit tracking just in general. So on the one habit tracker that I had each week, I did try to limit what habits I was keeping track of to just like a few. Honestly, anything more than like 3 or 4 habits would just be too much for me to keep up with. Also, to help me kind of preserve energy, I decided not to really do too much habit tracking on my habit trackers. That is, writing down when I did something for the sake of tracking how that habit is progressing over time. But I really just used it as kind of a to-do list for things that needed to get done more than once throughout the week. Anything that I needed to get done less frequently than that ended up on just the giant to-do list that already comes printed on the dashboard. And then the other sections of my dashboard, I just kind of left them as is. I didn't really use those that much for most weeks, and then for the weeks that I did need to use them for extra notes or something, they were there, and I just wrote what I needed to write down. It wasn't super organized, it wasn't super pretty, but it served its purpose, and that's what counts. Usually each month I'll take the set of checklists that I got from a different monthly planner and put them in here so that I can keep track of things that I want to get done at some point during the month. In the past, I've separated those tasks by task type or category. So like a list of house chores, a list of crafting things, a list of things that I need to do for my planner, that sort of thing. But since I was really trying to be intentional with what I was putting on my to-do list for the month, I decided to not only cut down on the number of things that I put on my to-do list, but also organize it in a different way. I decided to group things together by due date, essentially. So things that I had to get done right at the very beginning of the month, and then things that aren't as timely, but I had to get done before the month was over. And honestly, that worked out pretty well. It kind of made me think that maybe I need to rethink how I approach my to-do lists. So that was my month of May in my planner. Was it my most productive month? No. Did I end up falling behind on some projects and housework? Absolutely. But everything that needed to get done got done. And sometimes that's the most that you can ask for. And I think that's okay. So with all that being said, what does that mean for June? If you watched my planner setup video for this year, you'll know that this planner only includes 6 months. January through June of 2025. So since this is going to be my last month in this planner before I switch to a whole brand new planner, I decided I was going to be a little bit experimental this month, trying out some new things to see if maybe it's something that I would want to try in the new planner without having to test it out for the first time in July, because July is my birthday month and I would be really upset if I tried something in July and it just ruined everything. So if something is going to turn out ugly or not work, I would rather do it in June. So for June, one big change, or lack thereof, I guess, is the dashboard. Last month for May, I didn't do a custom dashboard like normal, but honestly, even after I started feeling better, I still ended up kind of enjoying not having a super structured dashboard. So I want to try another month of just using the dashboard as it is to see if that dashboard still works for me now that I'm starting to feel a lot better and now that my schedule is a lot less busy. Or did it only work for me last month because things were a little bit different for me last month? And then we'll see. Maybe for my next planner, I won't do custom dashboards every week. Now, don't worry, I'll still be a custom dashboard kind of person. It's definitely a tool that I want to keep in my back pocket because there are certain times when it is really helpful to just print a whole new, fresh custom dashboard, but maybe it just won't be an automatic thing to do every week for every month. Maybe I'll just do custom dashboards for weeks when I know I really need it. But of course, the dashboard isn't the only thing that I work on for my monthly reset, so there is my other stuff that I needed to get done for June, like making sure I had all of the holidays and birthdays and anniversaries added that I needed to, because it's an addiction. I don't know. I am obsessed with writing down holidays in my planner. It's a weird, I don't know why. It's a weird thing. It's just so satisfying. I don't even look at the holidays half the time. I just like writing them down. And then I add my little like timeline, time blocking dot things because I don't really have enough going on in my daily schedule to justify having a pre-printed timeline, but there are some days where there's a lot going on. So I split up the lines on each day with these little tiny dots so that I can, if I need to, have basically twice as many spaces to write things down on that day. I do also sometimes have things that need to get done on specific days where having it just on a weekly dashboard isn't specific enough for me. So I do think I'm still going to keep splitting up my days in half so I can use half of the day for a to-do list. This month I do want to get back into habit tracking for like tracking habits. And I do have these awesome full page habit tracker inserts from PT Paper, which I like to use for health and wellness habit tracking. Things like exercise habits, eating disorder behaviors, certain aspects of nutrition and activity. For the first few months of this planner, I was folding this page and then moving it along with each week so that I could have it in my visual space when I opened up my planner for the week. But as much as I like having all of this information together just for tracking purposes, it really is a lot of information to keep up with like on a daily basis. And honestly, a lot of the stuff I already use phone apps to keep track of, like more in real time anyway, but it doesn't really need to be timely. I really don't look at this until like an entire month has passed anyways. So what I've decided to do for this month is just rely on my phone apps to keep up with this information in real time and then go back in and backfill it essentially, which is basically what I've been doing this whole time anyway, but now I'm like officially giving myself permission. And since I don't really need to see this page every day, then I'm just going to keep it in its little wellness section in the back of my planner without having to worry about moving it with each week, if that makes sense. And then as far as like my to-do list type habit tracking, I did like how it ended up working out in May, where I just used that little extra section on the day pages. It does get a little bit annoying to have to write all of those vertical lines, but I think in the end it does still save a little bit of time than having to design a habit tracker and then make sure that it's sized correctly, cut it down, and then like put it down on each of the pages. I don't know. Even if it doesn't save as much actual time, it does save a lot of steps. It's just writing lines. That's all I'm doing. Last month, I also learned my lesson. The fewer things to add to my to-do list, the better. Sure, it's nice to write down everything that I see that needs to get done just so that I don't forget things, but I end up getting a lot more accomplished when I'm more realistic with my to-do list. If I'm only going to end up getting 5 things done anyway, it's better to just write just those 5 things so that I can easily see what needs to get done than have those 5 things hidden in a whole jumbled mess of like 100 things that is not going to end up getting done anyway. So for the month of June, I'm really going to try to be intentional with keeping my habit tracker to-do list as minimal as possible and my actual weekly to-do list as minimal as possible. Speaking of to-do lists, hi. How's it going? Now, as I was going through and trying to figure out how to simplify my planner last month, it really dawned on me just how much redundancy there is in my planner. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything inherently wrong with redundancy in a planner or a journal. I think there is a benefit of writing things down more than once, but it was starting to get a little bit excessive in my planner and not in a way that was beneficial to my productivity. And one of the places that I was really noticing that problem was with my monthly to-do lists. How these worked in the past is at the beginning of the month, I would figure out what are things that I need to get done before the month is over, and then write those things down. And then each week, as I was putting things on my dashboard and to-do lists, I would reference that month to-do list and then figure out if there was anything that I needed to copy over into that week or on a specific day. And then because I tend to not get things done even when they're on my to-do list, I would end up having to write that thing over and over and over again each week, as I would not get it done one week, so then I would have to copy it over to the next week, and then when it didn't get done by the end of the month, copy it over to the next month's monthly to-do list section, and it was just a lot of writing the same thing over and over and over again. So this is where I'm getting especially experimental for the month of June. What I'm going to try out is fill out my monthly checklist page thing. And then each week I can just find a section of my to-do list that I want to work on for that week or have to get done that week and put just that little section in that week. Check off the things that I get done that week, and then for anything else, I can just move that little section to the next week, and then for anything that I didn't get done that month, I can even just move that little piece of paper to the next month instead of having to like rewrite the whole thing over again. Or I don't know yet. I'm still workshopping this idea. I definitely don't think that this is the perfect system, but I think I'm onto something. I think I'm on the right track for like my ultimate productivity system. I just might have to tweak this a few more times before I'm like, oh, this is perfect. But I definitely want to test it out this month to see what works, what doesn't, and what I can change to make it better for my next planner that starts in July. Okay, there's one more thing for June that I don't actually know what I'm doing with it yet. So before my schedule got super crazy in May, I decided to write down like a spring cleaning checklist. After I moved last year, instead of unpacking and really getting settled in, I just kind of took the things that I really needed out of boxes, and then that was kind of it. I just left it at that. And it's been like almost a year. So things are still packed away. Everything is very untidy, not super clean. And then as I was dealing with my depression, unbeknownst to me, things just kept getting dirtier and messier, which would make me feel even more depressed, which would make me even less motivated to clean and tidy and organize. And it just turned into like this huge snowball of a disgusting, unpacked mess. So I was like, yes, I really need to get things in order. Spring is the perfect time to like really organize and clean. And it's been like 6 weeks since I made this list, and I have done absolutely nothing with it. I just have not had the energy, or I've just been too busy, or honestly, I kind of forgot that it existed for a little bit there. So what do I do about these tasks now? I don't know, to be honest. Now that I am feeling better mentally and I have more space in my schedule, maybe I can start working on this spring cleaning list. But if not, I'll just reevaluate it and then figure out what I need to do to get this stuff done in my next planner. Because I really can't live like this any longer. I need my home to be at least a little bit clean. It doesn't need to be sparkly, squeaky clean, but it needs to be better. It needs to be better. I can't do this anymore. But we'll see how this month goes, which is part of the reason why I really sit down and kind of reevaluate my planner on a monthly basis. There's so much that can change over the course of a month. Schedule, mental health status, what is working in the planner versus what isn't, new ideas, new inspiration. Even if I'm not keeping up with my planner on like a daily basis, these monthly resets are really kind of like rejuvenating. So at this point, I am feeling pretty confident with how my planner is looking for June. Everything seems to be working pretty well, but I'm already starting to see where I can improve for my next planner. So I'm really excited to put together that next planner. If you're excited to see it, definitely stay tuned and make sure that you're subscribed, because I'm hoping that video will be going out soon in like a reasonable amount of time. But if you know me, you know I can't really promise anything. But hopefully I at least have enough on my channel to keep you entertained until then, whenever that may be.